Hey everybody, Roger here. I hope you guys are all having a great day. Boy, this world that we're living in is just changing rapidly. One thing that doesn't change though is the consistent flock of sheep that just believe the world is bliss. The government loves them. The government will take care of them, and they will just follow orders and directives. I mean, we've seen this with the dancing plagues. We've seen this with World War One, the promotion of it with Woodrow Wilson. We've seen all these things where the public is easily influenced. We most recently, again, not counting today, but with 9/11, where this pro-war narrative has been generated. And I think with the advent of the internet and the wide distribution of information, that we're all able to now see this information, see history for what it is. I will say, before the advent of the internet, I was just kind of a dumb, in the head, and always felt like the victim about everything. But one coworker one time told me about Ron Paul, and that's when my whole that's when change started happening for me. Realistic change. Before that I was always more of an individual, regardless. Did my own thing, had my own path, but I always felt like I was a victim. It wasn't until I started seeing how the world operated, and I'm still continuing to learn to see how the world operates and how deceiving and conniving and dangerous it is for all of us, if we let the powers that be above us, or who are with us, but higher power people control us, then it will be a really bad place to be for us in general, for the average person. Now, the things I want to talk about in this video, I want to start off with CHAZ, or CHOP, or whatever they want to call themselves, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in Seattle, one of my old states, and it's gone chaotic. It's just insane. So everything that they fight against, everything that they are supposedly about, when you look at the supposed non-organization group of Antifa, and you have BLM in there, you have a couple of other fringe groups with varying ideologies in there, you have homeless people doing drugs all over the garden, tearing it up, people carrying machetes, you have an overlord. I mean, you have all of these things where you can see that the disorder that they believe in, the ideologies, whether it's Marxism or whatever, whatever ideologies they have, they're all bringing them all together, and only because of one thing, or two things. Number one, they hate Trump, and number two, they hate the USA. So I'm pretty sure, I would hope that a lot of them in there are now starting to come back to reality and see, there is a thing to this order. I mean, there was this one tweet where this guy or girl, they posted it on 4chan, where he was like, remember to lock your tents. And it's like, okay, lock your tents. Weird. And then you read on, it's like, I just got, $400 stolen. I had my MacBook Pro 16-inch laptop stolen. Yeah. Side note, for the people that are in this little area here, who are supposedly anti-fascist, who are supposedly anti-commerce, supposedly anti-free market, whatever, you have a MacBook Pro. I mean, come on, contradiction and willful ignorance to your with your ideologies. It's showing here, just showing just a little bit. The MacBook Pro just kind of makes it go up a notch. But anyways, you have all of these things going on there. Yeah, I think their leader was just caught today, as I'm filming this, recruiting people, and their recruitment process is so funny. It's a sight to behold. But they were recruiting people and asked, hey, who has expertise in firearms? And guys raise their hands and stuff. And it's like, you don't even know if they're like under 18 or whatnot. But then he goes to his Tesla, very nice Tesla. Obviously, this guy is doing something good for himself. Outside, what the USA has brought this guy in terms of financial independence, and then he goes into Antifa and tries to take it over, or goes into Antifastan, whatever you want to call it, CHAZ, CHOP, whatever. And he has all of this. He's a millionaire, I'm pretty sure, Tesla and everything. His recruitment process is basically, oh, do you know how to fire firearms? Gives him these guys. I mean, they're like, they're holding the rifle up high while they're trying to, it's insane. You got to watch the footage. But that's their recruitment process, is they just ask, hey, who knows how to fire a gun, and who knows how to fire firearms? And they just hand them to them. It's like, Okay, I guess in that respect, they really don't believe in order. They don't believe in hierarchies. They don't believe in training or anything like that. Just go with the flow. But you see what it's causing. I mean, it's just causing insane chaos. So I don't know if he was recruiting Border Patrol, which supposedly the majority of them hate America for. I don't know if they were supporting recruiting local police. I mean, you guys have so many issues right now with cases of women being raped. You have assault cases. I've seen some of the footage of some crazy stuff that's been going on. You guys don't know what the hell you're doing, but you know what? Let it play out. This is going to be. We've only had commentary on why this wouldn't work. We have provided evidence why in regards to certain countries and how they've fallen apart. Like Venezuela, for example, as to why a socialist type system wouldn't work. And we're seeing it here in America with yuppie rich kids going around, or homeless people going around, all mingling together, and all in between. There's all in between. Don't get me wrong. There's all in between. Getting together and trying to make this work. Yet all they are an import reliant nation is what they call it, or country is what they call themselves. I don't know what they consider themselves, independent soul, entity, whatever. But they rely on pizza, corporate pizza. They rely on, all the listing of the things that they were looking for is just insane. Deodorant was on that list. They even said something with electrolytes in it, and I reposted that. I thought that was hilarious. I just kept thinking of Brondo. So yeah, you guys are all nuts. I love the shit show. Keep it going. Keep it going. You're going to try to blame everybody else for it. You're going to try to blame white nationalists. You're going to try to blame Trump. You're going to try to blame right-wing people. You're going to try to blame even people like me who are more centrist, independent people. But realistically, it's you and your failed ideologies. And then when you bring them all together and you guys try to do something, you guys fight, and it's fun. It is so fun. It's reality. It's the reality TV that we've always wanted. That isn't corporation driven. Well, maybe it is, and it's promoted by MSM. So, anyways, that's my take a little bit on CHAZ, CHOP, Antifastan, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, when that guy posted that thing about his laptop getting stolen, and then you see all these people saying lock your tents and this is mine. Why do you take my cell phone? It was a guy who was preaching in there as well. Apparently somebody stole his cell phone. I saw the little argument. I think they gave him a cell phone back. I don't know. But in their ideology, your stuff doesn't belong to you. So realistically, you don't have anything stolen from you. You guys are so batshit ass backwards in your thinking. You really don't think about the words that are coming out of your mouth. Kind of like me with me stuttering in these videos, right? Except, I kind of have a conclusion sometimes, unlike these guys. We'll leave that up to interpretation. So, anyways, that's that part that I wanted to talk about. And the MSM is hyping it up like, oh, this is great. There's nothing wrong. Jay Inslee, the mayor of Washington, is like, oh, I don't know anything going on about Seattle being taken over. A couple of blogs by some fringe group ideologies. This guy is running your state, people. This guy. I used to live in Washington, and he was a politician back in the day too. This was ages ago, and and he still doesn't know how to run his own state. It's dumbfounding how you guys keep voting this whack job in. But there you have it with that. I'm gonna move on to Rayshard Brooks and George Floyd. And we're going to kind of bring all this together in a roundabout way. So Rayshard Brooks, apparently, I think I'm pronouncing his name right. I watched the footage of what happened, and you have to kind of laugh at it. It's not tragic. It's more Darwinist. He wins the Darwin Award. Let's put it that way. Falls asleep in the middle of Wendy's drive-thru, and people call the cops. Obviously, people who want to defend the police are going to call the cops, which is insane. They call the cops, and two cops come, and one of them, Garrett Rolfe, he was fired. He was the one that shot and killed Rayshard Brooks, and the other one, Devin Bronson, he's put on administrative paid leave at this point. But in a nutshell, what happened, if you haven't watched the video yet, he sleeps in the drive-thru. Somebody calls the cops on him. The cops show up, give him sobriety test. They're nice to him. You watch everything from the footage and everything that was provided. The cops are being cordial. The cops are saying, hey, you know, you fell asleep. You could take this test. You could take that test. He's like, oh, I got 2 girls at home. Blah 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 blah. Sob stories don't count, and this is where minorities get it wrong. I mean, okay, again, I understand data. Yeah, more whites commit more crimes. More whites in America are killed by cops. More whites are killed, through the use of whatever. Whites do a lot more things, but per capita, whites make up more of the population in America. And if you cut everything down per capita, which is per 100,000, blacks commit the most crimes per capita. Whites commit a lot less per capita. They might be more people, but again, look at the per capita numbers, people. And if you don't, again, I'm not going to be explaining that in this video. And even Hispanics, you know, we commit a lot of crimes as well. And the thing about people trying to cover it up, oh, you guys are just victims. Fuck you. I'm not a victim. And for any minority to come out and defend the victim status, fuck you guys too. Oh my God. No, stop it with that. We were put on this world, whether you know it or not now, you will know it before you die. We're put on this world to do something productive, to be something, to have a certain experience. Maybe some of these people, maybe those experiences were to be a victim. That could be true. That could be true. Maybe some of these people's goal in this world to come into and be born in this world as a Mexican, as a black, as a white, as Asian, as whatever, all in between, was to experience being stupid, maybe to experience being a sheep, maybe to experience dying when you're running out of Walmart, breaking into a Walmart and running out with a 50-inch TV. Maybe it's stupidity like that why you exist. Maybe you chose it. But you know what? I don't choose to think that way. And I think a lot of other minorities who are rising up, who don't believe in this fringe ideology over here, who are making everybody else look bad, they don't think that way either. You know, it's sad that you guys or a lot of people who are watching this footage of Rayshard Brooks burning down a Wendy's because of, you know, officer bad, my officers are bad, whatever, and they want to defend the police, and police shooting should never happen. You guys didn't watch the video, or you did, and you're just blind to it. This is where I'm going with all this. MSM put this footage out there. It's anybody can watch it because they want to see how people are going to react to someone who's obviously guilty of evading officers, not following instructions. Again, after he started getting cuffed, he was starting to fight. He was resisting arrest. He broke all of these crimes. He stole an officer's weapon, the taser. Whether he could have, I don't care what side it was on. If it was a gun or a taser, he was going to reach for something. He was reaching for a weapon. He was doing all of these illegal things that you would not do if you were a civilized person, if you were thinking smart. But they put this information out there in the media, in the mainstream media, because they want to see how people are going to take it. Because they know, oh, you know what? George Floyd worked, but it's wearing down now. And I even think that was probably a psyop as well. And that's not for this video. That's the only thing I'm going to touch on with the George Floyd thing, is I think now things are surfacing where it does seem like a psyop. We won't get into that. But they're now starting to push this because they want to see, okay, well, people say that it is police brutality if an officer is doing everything right to try to prevent a menace to society going into the community. Look, if that guy was going into the community and the officer said, "Oh, don't shoot now," you know, he's got our taser, but he's running away, his back is to us, and we got to let him go. Even though he did this at the very end, he pointed the taser at the officers, shot at them with the taser, probably a bad shot because he was running, and the 2 officers trained in their profession. The one guy, Garrett Rolfe, whatever, he shot twice in the back, and the guy ended up dying from organ failure and loss of blood. If they were to have let him go, he would go on to commit other crimes. He would go probably break into a house, hold somebody hostage, lead to another death. Again, people, do you not understand? The people that are actually, mad at the officers for killing this guy, do you not understand that the officer has a duty to protect the neighborhood that you're at? They're assets. The officers are assets for you. You called them because your time is being wasted by this drunk ass motherfucker sleeping in his car. Your time is being wasted in line when you could be going home to the family that you're trying to get dinner for at this Wendy's drive-thru, which I don't support fast food, but I mean, the officers, you called them. You called the officers. They come and protect you. They come and help you. That's why this whole defunding the police thing is just so ironic. And it leads to a lot, again, of the breakdown of our system for takeover by, New World Order. Again, we'll get into that later. But going back to Rayshard Brooks, if they were to have let him go, there's a lot of people saying, oh, no, you killed him. You should just let him go. He was running away at that point. No, he committed so many crimes. He had already committed crimes. He was being arrested because he was already going to be formally charged with, driving while intoxicated, falling asleep in a public business, this public establishment, etc. All these things. In addition to that, yeah, he was courteous for about the 3 or 4 or 5, 10 minutes that he was talking to the officers. But then when he was being arrested, he fought back. He became more of a menace to society at that point. Officers did what they needed to do to protect their community. So there. I mean, what about that do people not understand? So you go down to Wendy's, after Wendy's was like, oh no, we're on the BLM movement side and whatnot. All these celebrities, all these fast food companies, all of these mainstream companies. I am cutting ties with just about almost everything that has to do with giving money back to these people. Obviously, there's a lot of things that we can't cut. Internet companies, for instance, if you have an internet company or a phone company and there's not service in your area, you're going to probably end up having to give money to a company that's going to eventually support these fringe ideology movements. Such is the case. But cancel your Netflix, cancel your Hulu, cancel all these things as much as possible, so they don't have that authority over you to say, no, we're with the cause now. It's like, no, you're pandering, and the idiot people of all ethnic backgrounds, of all racial backgrounds, of everything, are falling for it. They're like, oh, we love our companies, whatever. No, fuck that shit, people. Stop being a sheep. Stop getting taken control of. I mean, defunding the police. You guys want chaos? I mean, I say go for it. We have this test in Seattle right now in the Capitol Hill district area there with a 6-block, 7-block radius. It looks like they're probably going to try to expand here. You have this area where people are getting out of control. Go ahead, try to defund the police, and you're going to say, "Oh, we're going to put it back into black communities." No, you're not. You're going to probably make a couple of things here and there, but the majority of the funding, probably 80+% of it, is going to go back to you and your cronies. It's not going back to the police force. It's making everybody else weaker. And you see police officers. You saw a whole entire SWAT team in Florida quit, but you're seeing a lot of enforcement quit because they are being looked at as bad. This video of these two officers, of Garrett Rolfe, being fired for doing his job, for protecting his community. These are being put out for 2 reasons. Number one, to see how the public is going to react to an obvious issue of the officer being right in the scenario by shooting a man who's going to be a menace to society and probably cause more issues, probably cause a car crash, probably cause, take somebody hostage. And the other reason that they made this video, or that they released this video to the public, was to shame officers. To shame officers. Even though it's not a shameful video, they've already got you by the balls. MSM's got you by the balls. They got your brain. You are a fucking tool. You're a tool to them, so they know they could release this, and you're gonna go batshit crazy over all the stupid things. And you're gonna go out there, right? You're gonna go out there and burn the Wendy's down, break the windows, and be a fucking dumbass. That's what they want. That way they can bring in martial law. If Hillary was in, Trump was not supposed to win. Hillary was supposed to win so we can have mandated vaccines, so we can have mandated chips, so we can be controlled with whatever we do. We would not have a say-so in a lot of things. Trump was that little nudge in the wrong direction. He is definitely a big issue for these people. So they're doing everything in their power to make the chaos that they need to have happen for the 2030 agenda, or Agenda 21, whatever you want to call it. It's coming into fruition right now, and the sheep among us are responsible for this. We try to get the word out. I do my due diligence and research. I have been a sheep in the past, and maybe I still am. I don't know. But I think I'm headed in the right direction. My conscience tells me so. My free mind tells me so. So the real enemy with all this, with CHAZ, with CHOP, with the supposed, people saying, hey, we're not going to be calling these riots and lootings what they are by name. We're going to call them protests, because the majority of them are actually just protests. Now, I will grant you this. There is some footage out there of a lot of these protesters being nudged by plants. Let's just call them plants. People who have an agenda. They're the ones instigating, starting cars, officer cars on fires. You see some officers within communities directing some people to spray paint graffiti on walls, directing some people to cause chaos, pushing people. You're seeing all this shit happen. But here's the problem. There's enemies on every front here. Some are disguised as civilians, and they all work for that new world order. They're all plants for that new world order. You have an officer pushing a regular civilian, whether it's that female or whether it's that 70-year-old man, 75-year-old man, whether it's other people. You have officers. Some people within the officers are actually probably paid hacks to instigate more hate for officers. And they're, you can't hate all officers. This is that's just unrealistic. You can't hate everybody 100% of every background, religion, career field, whatever. You can't do that. That is just, if you do, you're just an idiot. There's good people in all avenues here, and the majority is good. There's a minority that's bad in every single segment of life. Mexicans, blacks, whites, officers, doctors, physicians, presidents, political parties, etc. There's bad seeds everywhere, but there's a lot of good as well. The bad are what take over. So you have these officers, intimidating people. You have these officers directing people to make graffiti. You have these officers telling people to throw bricks into walls. And then not just the officers. You now have, you obviously have some paid shills in there who are disguised, with their masks conveniently as Antifa or BLM or whatever, and they're paying people to go vandalize this place. They're starting the fires sometimes. I see this. It's not like it's not obvious. It's there. There's instigators, and while there are peaceful protests, there are some of these peaceful protesters end up turning into criminals, end up turning into a menace to society, because you have free will. If you're there to protest, let's put it this way. If you go to one of these protests and you go there with the sole intention of just protesting, but then you see over here that there's people throwing bricks at a window, you have a conscious decision. If you want to go jump into the window and start stealing stuff, thereby becoming a menace to society, thereby becoming a criminal, you have that conscious choice. Just because the plants are there, just because those plants have been placed by Soros and the gang, and the Rockefellers and the all these Illuminati people, again, say what you will about it, but do your research before you laugh at me on it. Just because you have all those there doesn't mean that your free will can decide for you if you want to act on that stupidity. And I've seen it already. The sheep, they will act on the stupidity. They want to get that free TV. They want to go get their hair care products. They want to go get their the canned foods and whatnot. They just want to it's just stupid. It's stupid. And this could bring forth, martial law. Not that I don't think we're not in it right now. It seems like we are. We're being mandated to do different things in each individual state, but it's going to get worse from here. And this martial law can actually trigger a new world order. It most likely could if we get out of control. I mean, it's just getting insane. And that's where the whole thing lies with all of this. We're infighting about race. We're infighting about one officer. Again, offshoot. More people die, as Anomaly says, more people die of icicles falling on their heads and killing them than police brutality. You know, it's insane what we're fighting about. One thing I've noticed, and I think I mentioned this in my last video, is we get really triggered. Our society gets really triggered at stupid ass things that do not affect the majority. We're getting triggered by this coronavirus that's supposedly deadly, that only kills 0.001% of the population of those that have been reported as positive. And the data keeps changing, and they keep telling you, oh, wear your mask, don't wear your mask, wear your mask, well, don't wear your mask. We're getting trained to be fucking mental. That's what's happening. I had to take a break from media the last couple of days because my head started hurting from all of this stupidity. But they plant that in you. You know, it's just insane how people fall for it. So we fall for that 0.001% of COVID, and we go crazy about it, and we look at each other as enemies now. You know, when we're in the stores and shopping and whatnot, people give you the glare. When I don't wear a mask, I just don't. I'm healthy. I know. I've studied this. I'm not one that just follows the mainstream news and listen to what they tell me. Cuomo and whatnot on CNN. I do my research. I follow doctors. I am healthy. I do what I want. I am around other people all the time. I go in and out of town. I am still healthy. I'm a healthy individual. 43 years old, and I'm healthy. So you have people falling for that little boogeyman. And the other boogeyman? Racism. Or officers killing people. 0.00001% chance that will happen to you. It's a rarity that an officer will pull out his firearm and shoot. Only in extreme cases that happens. But you know, everybody is just so tied up into seeing it's just chaos. No, black people are getting assassinated. Granted, I think black people are being used as a tool. I really do, and it's a shame. And then the pandering from the Democrats wearing the kente cloth, not understanding that the Ashanti were leaders in the slave trade. Why aren't black people mad about that? I mean, it's dumbfounding to me. You know, every past has slavery. Every fucking background has slavery. Nobody ever wants to go back to that. They blame the white man that actually ended slavery within 150 years, the fastest in history, in recorded history. And you guys are mad at them. Fuck you guys. My God, you guys are destroying a good thing. America is a great thing, and we're all in it together. And the people that separate it are the idiots of all backgrounds, the idiots of all backgrounds just destroy it all for everybody else. And so we get so triggered by these 0.00001 issues of racist deaths, and we don't even know if any of these are racist. The assumption was made in MSM, and that's what drives home to people who don't fucking think for themselves. And that's where we're at right now, because a lot of people are now coming up and talking about it. I'm doing my best to talk about it, even though I blah, 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 stutter the whole time. But we're doing our part. There's a lot of people who just stay quiet. You got to be vocal about this because it's not getting any better. You know, stupid ass people are calling these things racist. The George Floyd thing, we don't even know if that was racist based. I still think it's a psyops now. You know, at this point, I feel sorry for the guy, but there's news out there that maybe he had died 3 years ago prior. I don't know. Again, I'm just looking into every avenue. That's the conspiracy theorist in my head. And I don't give a shit what anybody says. You got to be a conspiracy theorist. You got to. Or you got to at least be a critical thinker. You can't just accept the narrative out there and be stupid and destroy your nation. That's the easy way out. Why do people always want the easy way out? So we all fall for this dumbass bullshit. All of us. I fell for it before in my life. I don't fall for it now. And maybe I do. Maybe I am who knows? Maybe this psyops thing with George Floyd, maybe that is a psyop in itself. That, hey, we're going to try to navigate you over to thinking that maybe he wasn't killed. Blah, 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 whatever. Or wasn't killed on May 25th, but whatever. We fall for this stupid shit our real enemies aren't each other. Our real enemies, we all do love each other. I think I love anybody regardless, as long as you're a good person, wholehearted person. You love your neighbor, you love yourself. You try to do good for yourself and others. You're not if you occasionally have this running with the law where maybe you did time or whatever, you're still a person. I love you. As long as in your head you learn from your mistakes. I have my issues. We all do. But what separates us from our real enemy is that we're conscious of who we are. We're conscious of what we need to do to be unified. And we're getting had because the real enemy is the Illuminati, is the New World Order, the idea of the New World Order, is all these people, the MSM. Are these people that want to have us infight with each other. It's happened throughout history, people. I gave you a couple of examples at the beginning of this video. Go research them yourself. But we're falling for it again, and we got to call it out now. We have the power to do so with the internet, even though these videos keep getting banned. Just keep putting the content out there and sharing this information. Don't infight with one another anymore. We're not the real enemies here. The real enemies are those that want us to be slaves. So, yeah, that's what I got. What are your guys' thoughts about CHAZ or CHOP or Antifastan or stupid Seattle district, Capitol Hill? What are your thoughts on George Floyd? What are your thoughts on Rayshard Brooks? What are your thoughts on people just overreacting about everything and not really thinking clearly and just destroying a good thing? I'd really like to know your answers. Let me know in the comments below. As I've always said in all my other videos, love you guys. Like, hate, subscribe, unsubscribe, share, don't share. I do love it all. Peace out.